Well, today we're going to try to answer your questions on when to protect your windmill palms, and going to try to make this pretty comprehensive as far as what temperatures will damage your windmill palm. And with the cold coming up, we thought this is a good time to do this, and we're going to tell about all the different stages and all the different, where you have it in a pot or in the ground. And we're not going to cover how to protect it today. We're just going to tell you at what temperatures we recommend protecting it. And so first we have the seedlings here. We have some Trachycarpus fortunei. These are a waggy cross, but in the ground, these have been shown to start taking frond damage around 16 degrees Fahrenheit. So it would be recommended to protect these just to be safe if you start going under 20 degrees. And easiest way to protect these little small palms like this is to take some leaves or something like that, dry leaves, and put over them. Or if you have something like a little styrofoam cooler or something like that, give them a little protection. And that's the best way to protect these, since they will start taking some damage at around 16 Fahrenheit. Next we have the same situation, but let's say you have some small seedlings in a pot. These would need to be protected at least at temperatures below about 21 or so, because the roots will freeze. So I like to give you a little cushion. So I would tell you at 25 degrees or so to make sure these are either inside, or alternatively you could tuck these up against the house and mulch them in and that sort of thing. And you could do basically the same thing as the ones in the ground, cover them with leaves or something if temperatures get closer to that 16 degrees or whatever that we're talking about, a danger zone. Next we have our juvenile size Trachycarpus fortunei, and these are palms that have not formed a full-size trunk. And my definition for protecting them is if they're not growing healthy and have grown at least around 10 fronds per year. So full-size trunk, you'll know it when you see it. It's about 8 or 10 inches or more at least wide. And but anyway, this is a juvenile here, a smaller palm, and this one's been in the ground I think a couple years now, but still it falls into that smaller palm size. It's getting a little tougher, but these smaller palms are more likely to spear pull in temperatures under 21 degrees Fahrenheit. So at least with ice and cold conditions. So if you have that type of condition and want to ensure that they don't spear pull, it's best to have them covered at least with a dry cover during those events. And they start taking frond damage at around 13 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you want to save the fronds, especially under that temperature, it would definitely be recommended to use that temperature as a start point to protect them. Or like we say, if you're having the freezing precip, you're gonna want to take some precautions even under 21 Fahrenheit just to prevent a spear pull. It may not kill the palm, but it just depends on how picky you want to be with covering your palm and protecting it. So anyway, that's the temperatures that you should protect a juvenile palm. And now we're going to move on to the adults, and then we're going to move on to a larger potted palm. So here's a larger palm that's about 7 feet tall, and this one has a full-size trunk developed, and it's growing fronds at a very good rate, at least at 10 fronds per year. And so I consider this to be an adult. It's flowering. This one has seeds, and so this particular palm is a little hardier. It still has some danger of spear pulling in the teens or whatever, if it has a ice and cold event. So it's recommended to have some sort of heat source in there if you have that type of event. But for sure, the recommendation is it starts taking some spotty frond damage, which will just be little spots on the fronds if it has temperatures around 12 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. And as those temperatures get lower in the 8 to 10 degree range, you'll start having a lot more frond damage. So it's recommended, if you're going to see temperatures under 12 degrees or under, to have this size palm protected if you want to try to save the fronds. So that's the recommendation on that. As far as the palm dying, temperatures generally around 8 degrees Fahrenheit or lower put your palm in danger of death. And so it may or may not die during those temperatures, but especially 5 degrees or so starts really putting the palm in danger. If it doesn't die, it'll be in pretty poor shape for a lot of the next year. So you have to consider that when you're thinking about covering the palm. But so the general recommendation is, if you want to keep the fronds is under 12 degrees, go ahead and take some protective measures. And just one final tip: when you have these exposed roots like this, the radiative cold will sink down to the ground. So if you have a very cold conditions, these are the most sensitive parts of your palm. So these are sensitive at about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So anything getting close to that, you're going to want to make sure the roots of your palm are mulched in very well with and depending on what area you're in. If you're in something really cold, you may have to take other measures. But if you're in areas 6 or 7 or 8 and going to get temperatures at 20 degrees Fahrenheit or less, or even approaching that, you need to have mulch up over about an inch or 2 over the top of these roots, and that'll protect them and keep them from getting that cold. And you don't want your roots to freeze. And last here we have a larger potted palm, and the palm itself is pretty hardy into temperatures just like the others, the fronds and the trunk and everything, down to about 12 degrees where it starts taking some frond damage. But with it being in a pot, these roots, which are the most sensitive part of the palm, are sensitive in temperatures around 20 degrees or less. And so when you have a potted palm, it is best to be safe and bring it in around 25 degrees Fahrenheit or less. That's just to be safe, because you don't want the roots to freeze, and if the roots freeze, you're going to have some problems with the palm the next year, and it's just not going to be healthy. So it's recommended on potted palms to bring them in 25 degrees or less, unless there's some way you can put them up beside the house and it's a smaller pot, unlike this big large pot, and you can mulch them in or something beside the house. It's best to bring them in your garage or some sort of thing to keep them from getting into that 20 degree Fahrenheit or less temperature range. And you never know what temperature is going to drop at night. So if they say 25 at night, it might drop to 20. So you never know when the forecast is wrong. So you want to be err on the side of safety.